On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about Sehnsucht by Rammstein. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Medalist podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters. We like metal and we like to talk about it. And today we're going back to 1997 for an album by a little band from Germany that you may or may not have heard of.
From the town of Rammstein.
Really? I didn't know that. I didn't know they were named after the town they were from. I should have done some research on like the band.
Yeah.
I guess it didn't occur to me to do so because what's there to say about like it's weird. I don't actually know much of anything about Rammstein. Like you don't hear much about them.
You hear about Till Lindemann all the time.
Yeah, because like you hear about their performances and that they do all kinds of weird, crazy shit. But like I've heard very few personal details about anyone in the band.
I feel like they're just regular dudes. Like outside of their public persona, they go home, they play fetch with the dog, they mow the yard, There's no giant animatronic penises. No, they got that out of their system on stage.
So yeah, they're known for a variety of bizarre things that is sort of all rolled up into their performance. Like it's almost part performance art. Throughout their career. There's the visual element has always been extremely important for this band.
Right.
And it's what has made them so distinctive and popular and well known / infamous.
Right.
It's sort of an inescapable part of the band.
Hey, mister, will you sign my flaming dick? Another one. Okay.
Another one of these. Okay.
Fine.
9.
9.
I will not. We'll talk more about Rammstein in a while.
Sure.
First, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great.
You had some certainly not for the first time.
No. Issues with this car.
Long-time listeners of this podcast will can add another mark, I guess, for OJ car trouble.
Well, it's, because and here's the thing: you said, but my youngest child had a band concert on Thursday, which we normally record these, and then we'd say we were going to do like D&D today, but we were going to try to record this after that, and you're like, we're not going to have D&D today. I know you don't have a car. You still want to do this? And I'm like, we are going to talk about German engineering on the day we talk about fucking Rammstein. That is happening. I will not miss out on that.
This Volkswagen is fucking cursed.
It is.
It is a cursed vehicle. It has given you so many problems since you got it. So almost immediately.
Right. And there are so many things about it that I want. I'm not an engineer. I am not. I've never manufactured a vehicle. But there are so many choices when that they design and put this thing together that are so curious. Why? It's weird.
Yeah.
I remember Jay Davis was talking because the steering wouldn't work at one point, and Jay was like, well, there's a thing called a rack and a pinion. I'm like, no, this does not have rack and pinion steering.
Nope.
This has electronic steering for some fucked up reason.
Because it's the future.
Yeah. So if there's anything wrong, if there's any quirk in the electronics, which there is in my car, the steering doesn't work. Also, it won't shift. The shifter is, you're moving the shift and then some sort of a diode goes off somewhere and makes the transmission move.
There's no actual mechanical linkage in there.
No.
And that scares me.
Yeah. I know. And it won't start unless if it gets down below 0, which we live in North Dakota.
There's a lot of days of the year.
Yeah. You have to, there's a certain weird connection with the brake or start. And you have to push down on the brake in a way where, say you were pushing a Volkswagen uphill with your foot. That's how hard you have to push on the brake to make the car start.
I remember like the first winter you had that car, you wanted to try and start it, and you went to get me to help you start it. And I put my entire weight on the brake pedal while trying to start it. And I'm a fair bit heavier than you.
Right.
And no, I don't think it was physically possible to apply enough pressure to that brake, because those brakes are at least partially like air brakes or some
they
shit,
are.
Right? And,
right, they're air brakes.
And the reason why it doesn't work is because the air fucking contracts so much when it's cold out, and you can't get it. The pressure don't work. Again, we're not engineers.
Right.
But yeah, it's just, so what happened last night?
Well, okay, what happened last night is I was driving around with my youngest son, the one who was in the band concert, and some smoke came from, under the hood.
Yeah.
And which,
never a good sign.
Not ever a good sign. That's not a feature.
It's not so bad if you can somehow discern that it's in fact steam and not smoke.
Sure, maybe you have maybe something going on with the radiator, and that's fixable.
Yeah, that's not the worst problem, but smoke, not good.
Not good. And so, but then it stopped. So I'm like,
that's probably fine.
It's fine.
It stopped.
Yeah. So now the entire electrical thing, I stopped that. Luckily, I dropped the boy off with his mom, and then the boy. And I was there at the mini mart getting some sort of or loaf and jug, whatever it is now. Yeah. Getting a thing, and then I go out to the car, and it's all fuckered up now. I mean,
it's all fuckered up now.
Yeah. It won't. I couldn't put it in gear. I went into gear, and then it went.
Oh no.
And so I'm stuck, and I'm trying to push it back into a parking place because at that moment I was technically blocking 2 of the pumps.
Oh god.
At the gas station, and so I'm pushing it back, and luckily these 2. Because it's across from the college, it was 2 college guys going buying beer. And they're like, hey, you want some help? I'm like, yes. Yeah, that would be
so awesome. It was the loaf and jug.
Yes, it was the loaf and jug.
I was going to say, I went and bought beer at that gas station many times when I was in college. Because I could just walk there. It's great.
And that's what they were doing. And they helped me push my car. And then I called my insurance company. They towed it away and gave me a voucher for a lift. So,
God.
So here's good news. I'm probably going to get a new car this week.
Finally.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you can get your hands on one that is just solid and just works.
Right. Something reliable, something that's, here's another complaint about this car. It's 4 millimeters off the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
very low, very low to the ground.
Which is great if it's a sports car and you're trying to get,
trying to
pick up the ladies,
aerodynamic and floating around.
Yeah, I want.
No, you don't need that.
I don't.
I think some mid-size, some like a gently used mid-sized Honda or Toyota.
Exactly.
It's just it's hard to go wrong. I feel like.
Indeed, something that has all-wheel drive. I'd prefer. If you can.
It would be nice.
Yeah,
it would be nice. I mean, I've had a Toyota Corolla for 10 years now,
and that car works so well. It only has 50,000 miles on it.
I walk to work every day, so it has a remarkable. It's a 14-year-old car. It's a 2010, but it has less than 100,000 miles on it because I walk to work every day.
Right. You start it every now and then. I suppose on the weekend or at night you go to the grocery store.
I mean, if I have errands to run and whatnot, or if I'm going, out of town, obviously.
Are you leaving town today?
No.
Oh, you're not going to go see Mom on Mother's Day? Why do you hate your mom?
I talked to my mom earlier today, and wished her a happy Mother's Day, and I'm going down there next weekend because it'll also be my dad's birthday. So.
Oh, okay. So you're going down for Mom and Dad kind of at the same time.
Yeah. The busy extended family. So things kind of got combined into one. You look confused.
Wait, your birthday's this month, isn't it?
No, my birthday was in March.
Right. I knew it was an M month.
We already did that.
Right.
You got me something.
That's right, I did.
You got me several things, actually. One of which is still on the desk here, which I will begin using pretty soon.
Nice.
Because last night, my Saturday D&D group wrapped up our first very nearly 3-year campaign.
Wow.
It was a couple weeks short of 3 years, from level 3 to level 16.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it was really cool last night. And the last, before that was my like big responsibility of putting together the final arc and leading up to the final boss and everything. And that was last weekend that I did that. And then a different DM handled the epilogue for all the characters and whatnot. And it was really, really great.
Those are touching moments.
Yeah, no,
they actually are.
It was beautiful and wonderful and everything I could have wanted. And I'm really excited to start something new with that group of people.
It's like saying goodbye to some friends that don't actually exist for the final time.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because it's like, the feeling when you finish a really good TV show that you've been watching as it comes out for years, and especially when it has like a happy sort of like the series finale of like Parks and Recreation, that kind of feeling. But then imagine that you and your friends played all of the characters,
right?
Like that's the feeling of finishing such a long D&D campaign. That's what it feels like, and it was really, really great. But now we're starting over. We're going back to level 3 and all making new characters, and we're going to make a new region of our world that we're going to play in and figure out where to go from there. And I'm excited to start that. And I'm going to use the dope ass journal you got me.
Sweet.
To, I don't think it's going to be notes because I don't know what it is. I don't like, especially as a player, I never write notes. I'm just not a note taker for D&D. I don't know why. I think it's because I'm too focused on what's happening, and I cannot listen to what's happening and be in character for that while also writing. Like I can't do that.
I always feel a little bit guilty in our Sunday campaign. You'll be saying, okay, here's this person's name, and this is what we have to do, and here's some details. And I'll look over it. I'll see Hannah, and I'll see Matt, and I'll see Topher all writing shit down. I'm like, what are they writing down? What? Oh, the things he's saying.
See, it's nice when you have people who are note takers,
right?
Because you can kind of rely on them a little bit to keep track of that sort of thing. What I'm hoping to do with my new character is use that as like a character journal sort of thing of like, instead of writing down necessarily like notes on like, oh, this character, this person, they're connected, like D&D notes usually turn into like a conspiracy journal is the way that it often ends up. Instead, what I'm going to do is it's going to be like, okay, like, how does my character feel about these other people? Like, what are their thoughts? What are they thinking? It's just like getting into character a little bit, because in a number of ways, the character that I've made is very different from me. And so I want to try and commit to keeping him that way,
right?
Instead of having him slowly just morph into something I'm more comfortable or familiar with, because he's kind of an asshole. And
you said he's different than you?
Hey. But like I'm the person who I can't be mean to NPCs in video games.
Yeah.
I can't bring myself to say mean things to at least nice NPCs. Mm-hmm. I'll talk shit to bad guys, but like if there's a nice NPC and you have like a mean dialogue option, like I can't do it. I can't do like evil playthroughs of RPGs. Like I always end up playing like a good guy, and I can't help I don't want to be mean to these imaginary people. And so like this new D&D character is kind of I picture him sitting kind of in the four corners between like lawful neutral, lawful evil, true neutral, and neutral evil. Like he is on that corner of those four. Right. And he might lean one way or the other depending upon what the situation is. I imagine him, he's fairly heavily inspired by Amos Burton from The Expanse. Okay. But a little bit less funny, actually significantly less funny than Amos is, and a bit more willful, because Amos is very much like he attaches himself to other people that he relies on to like guide him through things, because he knows that he's not a great person.
Yeah, he's self-aware, very self-aware, and he didn't always work in space.
Yes. So yeah, I'm like, I don't know. It'll be a process of figuring out how to play that new character, but I'm hoping things will all work out. I don't know, but yeah.
So that's gonna be a good time.
It should be a good time. Should be. What if it's not a good time? Next weekend, because that group is off next weekend. Mm-hmm.
Saturday group.
Yeah, and everyone else is, because like we were gonna have two people gone, and everyone else they're going to watch both Dune movies.
Ooh.
One after the other.
That's a lot of Dune.
And for me, I'm just like, I don't like, I generally don't much care for watching movies with other people in general.
Right.
Like I'm not a watch movies with other people person. I don't know.
I very much prefer even the theater.
Yeah.
Unless it's one of my children. Because then, I just always that's different. But but I don't feel like I have to be social with them. Mm-hmm. It's like, shut up and watch the movie.
Yeah,
because I'm not talking to you.
Yeah, for me, watching movies isn't like a hangout activity. I don't know why. It's just developed to be that way. Mm-hmm. I think it really depends on the movie, I guess, because for me, I want to focus on the movie. I don't want to stop and talk. Mm-hmm. And like, I don't want to talk over the movie. And I'm equally annoyed by having to pause the movie to talk, because it's like disruptive. Mm-hmm. So I much prefer to watch movies and TV shows by myself. So I'm not going to be joining in on that experience. But that being said, there are certain movies that that have to be watched with other people.
We've enjoyed some movies together.
Oh yeah. And when that group goes to Vegas, I am making them all watch Cats with me. We're all going to have various legal substances, and we're going to watch Cats, and I think it's going to be a good time.
It will be a good time. I mean, it's an entertaining movie.
It is entertaining for mostly the wrong reasons,
right?
But
can you watch the director's cut? Is that out there available?
The butthole cut?
The butthole
cut. I don't know if there is a director's cut of Cats. I'll have to see. I don't think there is, though.
Because, I mean, I have dreams about Judi Dench's butthole.
Oh, no. where do we go from there?
So anyway, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I'm excited to show all of them cats because, like, here's the thing: the music. At the end of the day, the music in that movie is still Andrew Lloyd Webber at his most Andrew Lloyd Webber. It's good music.
Right. It's weird, but it's good.
It's weird, but it's good. It's very entertaining. Every single thing around the music is so fucking baffling. It's so incredibly baffling and bizarre and entirely too horny. And it's fascinating.
Have you read the original poetry?
No, I have not read the T.S. Eliot poems.
Yeah. I mean, they're weird.
Are those? Too. I mean, it's T.S. Eliot.
Sure.
I don't know a whole lot about the guy, but I do know he had a reputation for writing some relatively kind of weird stuff.
Yeah.
Very significant stuff, but weird.
Yes.
I feel like most of the best stuff is often a little weird. That's why it was notable. But yeah, in any case, it should be a good time. Like, I'm really excited to get to. There are two big moments in that movie that I really want to see everyone's reaction to. The first one, I don't remember what order these happen in. The first big moment in the movie that I want to see everyone's reaction to is I want to see what everyone thinks of Skimbleshanks, because I remember that song and that scene was unironically a fucking bop. It was that was a banger.
Sure.
That song, that character, that was a great time. It was a lot of fun. There's a little tap dancing bit in there. Yeah. He's on the rails, and they're all like suddenly the size of voles or something. Like
right.
They're on a rail, like a single like train rail. They're all supposed to be cats, roughly the size of a cat, and yet they are all so very small compared to this single rail. I don't know, like the scale's all fucking over the place.
Right.
That's a fun scene. I want to see everyone's reaction to. And then I want to see everyone's reaction to the moment when the illusion is broken and you remember they're all naked. And it's the moment when Idris Elba just teleports onto screen, not wearing the coat that his character had been wearing the entire time.
Right.
And you suddenly go like, oh God, they've all been naked the whole time. Like you're suddenly your brain goes, wait, they're naked. Oh no, why are they naked?
Right.
And I think the reason for it is because
they're cats.
Yeah, well, and like that's the reason why they're naked. But with Idris Elba, the reason why it breaks the illusion is, okay, he's normally wearing the coat, suddenly he's without the coat. But also, compared to most of the other cats who have like, various natural colors that a cat's fur might be, but they usually have like some stripes or some patterning to break it up.
Sure.
Idris Elba's cat, the fur is one solid color, and that color is the exact same color as Idris Elba's skin. And so it just looks like Idris Elba is just stark naked, but for some reason has no nipples and and
no butthole.
Yeah. And his butthole was digitally removed from the film because for some reason it was added to the character model in the first place.
Right.
Which is a part of the making of that movie that will always entertain me.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited to force that upon 7 of my friends. That's going to be a good time. Speaking of weird things that were forced upon friends, let's talk about Rammstein. Sehnsucht. So, if you don't know, Rammstein is a German metal band, or technically they kind of created a new genre that is referred to in German. It's New Deutsche Harte, NDH, which translates to New German Hardness. which is
Google that.
Kind of a funny
on your work computer.
Innuendo.
Yeah.
But in any case, they are an interesting combination of like industrial metal and hard rock and electronic music that they've been performing since 1994. And as I understand, have had a extremely remarkably shockingly consistent lineup that entire time. At least just looking at Wikipedia here, it says members and it has the 6 of them and then nothing else. No past members or former members. Just they've all been part of the band seemingly the entire time, which is fucking impressive for a band that's been around for 30 years now in the weird kind of avant-garde rock scene. Although that like avant-garde usually comes with like the qualifier that it's like also like very underground and niche. And not that this isn't niche, but Rammstein is an extremely popular band.
Right.
They're, one of the bigger like rock or metal bands in the world, and very well known worldwide, which confuses me. Like I don't entirely understand how they made it so big. Like I don't entirely get how they got so popular. I'm happy that they did.
Even though all their stuff's in German.
It's all in German, and it's fucking weird. It's really weird.
I think yes, it is weird, but at the same time very catchy. I think
I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah,
it's just the right blend of bizarre and catchy, and that's that's been a winning formula in popular music for a long time. Like Björk was very popular for quite a while, and she's one of the weirdest artists ever.
Yeah.
So I think
Love me some Björk.
Yeah, weirdness and catchiness go together hand in hand. But so we're talking about their album Sehnsucht, which came out in 1997. It's their second album.
Yes.
And I don't know a whole lot. There actually wasn't a ton of detail easily available about like the making of the album.
Right. There isn't.
I know that the word Sehnsucht is a German word that refers to like a sense of longing for something, usually in a romantic context. But there was not a ton of detail just about like, the making of the album or anything like that, which I was a little surprised at for a band that is, as popular as they are, that's been around for that long. One of the more interesting things is that the album has 6 covers. It has 6 album covers that
6 members of the band.
Yeah, the one for each member of the band, with each of them wearing some weird shit on their face. Right. Various different like wire mesh constructions and weird glasses and gags and
like that one right there that you have on this screen.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean on your right screen. Yes. That is sort of a nod to the band Scorpions.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there you can, if you like search for this online, you will find any of the different ones, although some of them are more popular than others. I think the one that's up on Spotify behind me is probably the most well-known one,
right?
That people associate with the album, but you can find it with any of them, basically. But that was, that's kind of the limit of a lot of the detail about this album. There was an anniversary edition that came out last year, which I believe is what I listened to. But that's kind of all that I really have.
It's funny. I don't have much more, if at all, than that, because they've kind of very carefully crafted their public image.
Yeah.
Which is to say, they don't put a lot of information out there, just, the art itself.
Yeah. They let the art speak for itself.
Right. And like I said, it's more further evidence that they are just 6 actually pretty stable guys.
Yeah.
That it's been the same guys for 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No crazy, insane interpersonal drama has, to my knowledge at least, leaked out into popular consciousness.
Exactly.
I feel like there are many bands of similar stature to them that even if I don't listen to them and wouldn't consider myself a fan, I have through some avenue or another learned bits of like weird trivia and drama that has happened to the band. Like I don't consider myself like a big Megadeth fan, but I know I know plenty about Dave Mustaine's various idiosyncrasies. But Rammstein, I don't know shit about any of them really.
I mean, their singer was an Olympic hopeful.
Till Lindemann.
Yeah.
What was his sport?
He was a swimmer.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like that's been mentioned before.
Right.
I feel like you've probably told me that before, but I did not retain that information.
Right. He didn't quite make it. He didn't quite make the cut, but he was training for it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. In the early 80s.
So what's your history with Rammstein?
My history with Rammstein has to do with the fact that I worked in a strip club.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I was working in a strip club, and this was a very popular thing for the strippers to dance to. And so I would go home.
I can imagine it would be. It's very fitting.
Yeah. And then I'd have those songs stuck in my head. Eventually, I had to cave and went down to the Sam Goody and made this album on CD because I already
it's actually pretty good.
It's actually pretty good. I want to listen to this.
So I think there was maybe some assumption on your part when you brought this to me, like, hey, you're going to listen to this.
Yeah.
That I was probably going to hate it.
It probably wasn't going to be your cup of tea. Maybe not hate so much as.
Sure. I cannot say that it is my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But if we further the analogy of cups of tea, it's one that I didn't find unpleasant or uncomfortable to drink.
Sure.
It was served at the right temperature. It was not too astringent or bitter. It was a fine cup of tea. I think, like, of course, when it comes to like content, this is something we've talked about before, where like metal albums that are like very sexual for some reason make me uncomfortable.
And here's the thing, this isn't all that sexual.
Not really. And even if it is, it's in German.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there are songs in here like, oh, this is probably about something very sexy, and then you go to translate, and it's like how he's very sad, at the loss of his mother,
So yeah, if anything would have sort of tripped that particular landmine, the language barrier certainly prevented that, but
yeah.
Even so, like, I had a good time with this. Like, sure. It's like I said, it's not my cup of tea, but I did not hate it by any stretch of the imagination. Although I did find that this, I don't know how old all of these reviews were necessarily. I don't know if all of them were contemporary or if they were retroactive, but this album seems to be somewhat divisive on like for professional reviewers. There was a lot of very positive reviews, and then there was a couple very negative ones. At least on the Wikipedia here. Pitchfork, for example. I don't know if this was contemporary. I don't know when Pitchfork started doing reviews.
Sure.
It had whoever reviewed it for Pitchfork gave it a 2.9 out of 10.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So that's awful. Spin magazine gave it a 5 out of 10, which as far as music, that's pretty low. But everyone else was pretty positive. So with those outliers technically still included. I put together, an average of 7 reviews, and it came out to about 68.4.
Okay.
Which predictably, when one of those reviews is a 29%, definitely dragged it down quite a bit. But there was other reviews, like Rock Hard magazine gave it 9 out of 10, which that's a funny magazine.
Yeah.
Rock Hard. Sputnik Music has it at 90 as well. All Music, 4 to 5 stars. Like,
sure.
Does this album slap?
Yeah.
It definitely slaps for sure. What's your favorite song on the album?
It varies. I think for some crazy reason, the one that sticks in my head the most is Eifersucht. I don't know. It's like
Eifersucht.
It's like the last song.
No, it's the 10th song.
Right.
I guess I don't know if the anniversary edition is different from the release version, because at least on the one that I listened to, Eifersucht was 10, and then after that was Kuss mich.
Oh, Kuss mich.
And that was
it's Kiss Me.
Yeah, in German.
Yeah.
And then after that was a slight remix of Spiel mit mir.
Spiel mit mir. Play with me.
My German pronunciation is not so good.
Spiel.
Spiel
mit mir.
This song, this album, I think probably, I was not familiar with any of these songs other than Du hast, which seems to have like a very significant life of its own,
right?
Compared to the rest of this album. And I don't particularly know what it is about that song that made it so massive in like influent. Like, there are so many bands that I listen to, like bands that are significantly heavier, that have like cover versions of Du hast for some reason. Like, why?
I don't know.
I don't know what it is about that song in particular that really blew up compared to. Did it have like a banger music video or something? Like,
kinda. And the translation is pretty cool too. I mean,
what does it mean?
You hate me to say that I will not obey.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's I guess that makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah.
Like Fit for an Autopsy, I think, has a Du hast cover, or maybe it was Thy Artist Murder. I don't remember. It was one of the two. I think the reason why I've confused the two of them is because I'm fairly certain it was on like a split EP that those two bands did together. I don't remember which band did that cover, but it was one of them.
Of course, you know what band I've been trying to fight back at the back of it, because we're talking about this.
What band?
Because you brought up the fact that your D&D group is going to watch Dune back to back. And I said, that's a lot of Dune. So now I've had Lorna Shore stuck in my because it became Lorna Dune the cookie, and then I remember, just forget it. Just I need medication.
That's such a. I mean, look, I can't judge for bizarre like digressions and weird like logical chains. Like, that happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
Where like a thought will occur to me and I will want to share it, and then I'm like, okay, but I need to explain how I arrived at this thing that I want to talk about suddenly. Like, I need to explain the context of like, okay, you said this thing and that made me think of this, and then that, and then this. So, that's
where we are.
Hey, that's fine. Brain. I did have a thought though.
I'm sorry.
About my no. I remembered the thought.
Cool.
Which is talking about Dune. Because I didn't know what I wanted to listen to next week, but I think I know now.
Yes.
I think I've had an idea, and we'll talk about that later on. But so did we determine what your favorite song? It was
Eifersucht, song 10.
Yeah. Okay. I will say I probably predictably my favorite song is Clavier. It's moody, but also it gets like there's a really great guitar tone in there. I like that. I like it. It's very,
Dort am Klavier.
It's very moody and dramatic.
Belauschte sie mir.
Calm down. Oh, what's his name? His name is... Give me a second. Oh, he's hidden all over the radio station. Pictures of him are hidden all over.
You're talking about
Oh no! Why does this happen to us where we can't remember?
We should know this at the top of our heads. It's David Hasselhoff.
David Hasselhoff.
Yeah,
because he's very popular in Germany as a singer.
And then when we lost one of our employees before she moved, she
hid pictures of David Hasselhoff all over the radio station.
She hoffed the whole building, and
they are all still there to this day. Mm-hmm. There are like hidden pictures of David Hasselhoff all over.
Right.
Which is wonderful. Right. I love that.
Which the keyboard drawer that I have in my desk doesn't have keyboard, and it has chopsticks in it. Anytime I go to get chopsticks out of my keyboard drawer, there's Hoff playing with puppies.
There's the Hoff. There he is. So what medal do you want to bestow upon Sehnsucht like Mast Canada to Chewbacca?
Honestly, I mean, it's a silver.
I would agree with you. It's a silver for me as well. I enjoyed this, maybe perhaps surprisingly for myself at the very least. I expected I was maybe going to have a slightly worse time with this, but I had fun. I liked this. It was enjoyable. So here's what I want to talk about next week. The thought that occurred to me, and I've just decided.
Okay.
We talked about Dune and like things that take a very long time. And so the thing that occurred to me based on the album art of Dune is Dope Smoker by Sleep.
Yes. We never talked. Oh, we still talked about Sleep's Holy Mountain.
We haven't talked about Holy Mountain. We talked about The Sciences.
Yeah.
Which was their comeback album.
Let's talk about Dope Smoker.
So we're going to talk about Dope Smoker by Sleep.
Okay.
In the tradition of incredibly long one-track doom metal albums.
Yeah, that's a single
with this one with a very different vibe to our traditional. The two that we've talked about previously of that type being from Bell Witch.
Yes.
There's only two kinds of hour plus long single track doom metal albums. You either have your Dope Smokers or you have your Bell Witches. Like there's
Mirror Reaper. Yeah.
There's
either of them.
Yeah. There's because they have two of them now.
Right.
And there's another one that they're going to do of the same type to be a trilogy. But anyway, next week, Dope Smoker by Sleep.
Okay.
Until then, why don't you go ahead and follow our pages on Facebook or the website formerly known as Twitter, and go ahead and subscribe to our feed on whatever podcast service you're using to listen to us right now. Until then, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Bronze Medalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations.
Ja.
Ja. Nein.